Hi, my name is Dr. Mcayla Sarno, and I am a brain training expert. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I'm an E.M.D.R specialist, which is a highly effective form of therapy using brain patterns and eye movement to desensitize and provide permanent relief from many things, including trauma, eating disorders, addiction, anxiety, and phobias. Performance E.M.D.R is also used by many elite talent and professional athletes to improve performance. I'm also the creator of the first 5-day E.M.D.R intensive, and I've helped thousands of clients and students achieve success and change their thinking with several of my online programs and self-guided courses. Now, some of you may have been introduced to my technique by Chalene Johnson, or perhaps you heard me speak at events including Smart Success, John Assaraf's Brainathon, or one of the variety of podcast shows I've been featured as a guest on. You may not know that I'm also a wife and a mother, and I believe my purpose in life is to help others change their thinking, to conquer their past, and create the life they deserve to live. Now, most people have learned to survive, but what about you? Are you living the life that you truly desire? Now, if the answer to that question isn't 100% yes, then you're in the right place. Here's the truth. If it's possible for others, you must believe that it's possible for you too. You see, the reason why you see people in your same industry killing it, people who don't have your talent, who lack your passion, who aren't half as honest or real as you seem to be, is because they know how to ask, and they're not afraid to put themselves out there because they've figured out the secret to truly becoming confident and overcoming fear. Because living the life you desire has nothing to do with being a good person or a bad person. It has nothing to do with being thin or smart. It has nothing to do with timing. You see, there's a part of us that logically knows we can probably achieve success in just about anything. And then there's a part of us that, despite the logic, doesn't really believe we deserve or that we'll be able to do it. This is because of deep-seated core beliefs. Now, core beliefs are those things you believe about yourself that are true, regardless of what anyone else thinks or feels about you. And regardless of what they tell you, regardless of the logic behind it, these beliefs feel true, so we accept them as truth. And nothing seems to change them no matter what you try and tell yourself. Now, these core beliefs go to battle with each other all day long as we become really our own limitation. So it's like, yeah, I know I can do that thing, but well, who am I kidding? I don't really believe it. I don't truly believe that I can do it. Our beliefs take over in a snap, even when logically we know better. This might just be the reason you're not killing it, why you're not earning or living up to your full potential, why you're not experiencing abundance in your life, nor able to make changes, the kind of changes that stick. You may not realize that these beliefs are limiting your potential for happiness, your potential for earning, opportunity for a better life. You have the ability to change this and transform your mind, to change your life, and you can do that today, because I want you to know, from the most confident to the most successful to someone paralyzed by fear, that we all struggle with this. It's normal. But to change this and permanently is possible. Have you ever wondered how your life would change if you had unstoppable confidence, if you no longer feared judgment, if you no longer worried about what other people thought about you? Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to finally be able to enjoy success and actually believe you've earned it? And not only that you've earned it, but that you deserve it. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to finally silence that annoying little negative voice in your head? And how amazing would it be to finally be able to confidently go after what you want, to be able to ask for what you want, and to believe that you deserved it? How good would that feel to not have to work so hard to be in the person you are when you're at your best all the time? Well, I can tell you with all confidence that this is possible. You see, I'm living my dream life, But until recently, on some level, I didn't really feel like I deserved it. I guess it's because there was a time when my life, to be quite honest, the life that I was surviving was pretty miserable, sometimes even scary, painful, confusing, loud, lonely. And well, it just wasn't an easy life. Like many successful people, I learned from a very young age the only person I could really count on to care about me was me. My childhood was, well, let's just say it wasn't a childhood that I would want for any child. There was abuse, there was neglect, abandonment, addiction, pain, fear, uncertainty, and lots of lies, which is probably why I love the truth so much today. And it's also why once I was an adult, I had to learn skills to change my beliefs. You see, one of the most damaging beliefs I had from childhood was that the only one I could ever count on was me. Can you relate to that? The struggle as an adult to change your thinking, to change your beliefs, learning to believe in yourself, and that you matter. You see, I was only going to go so far in my career, and I was never going to live the life that I desired until I mastered this skill. I had to change my beliefs. The truth is, you deserve an amazing life. We all deserve this, regardless of anything that's happened to you or anything you've done in the past. Anything is possible, and it starts with changing the way you think. I had to change the way my brain was programmed, because with a childhood like mine, it wasn't exactly easy to find the courage to become a doctor. I had to change this programmed belief that I would fail. Now, I knew I had to change that belief or it would become my reality. So what did I do? Well, I didn't have any role models or mentors. It was just me. There was no one to lean on, so I studied. I researched everything that I could get my hands on to figure out how I could get rid of those lies in my head. Everything I read led me to believe that my very best option was to get therapy. So I went into session. And I did it. I became a doctor. But here I was again, a successful doctor, but wrestling with the thought that I didn't deserve to ask for the rate I deserved as a therapist. So I went in session, and today clients pay up to $6,000 for just one 5-day intensive. But the only way I was able to get over that obstacle was by going in session and changing my belief, believing I was worth it. Then when I realized my fear of judgment was preventing me from calling myself an expert and putting myself out there to get top speaking engagements, I decided to tackle that negative belief too, and as quickly as possible by going in session. And now I'm a top paid speaker, and I can confidently call myself an expert. But it was a real challenge to get here. The things I've been able to accomplish are because each time I've hit an obstacle, I've done this. I've acknowledged it, and then I set out to change the belief that was holding me back. You have the ability to transform your life because I was able to change my beliefs and, in a sense, rewire my brain. I was able to do a lot of things like become a doctor. I was able to finally start asking for the rate that I deserved. My practice was thriving, and I could finally afford to be in my dream office. As a matter of fact, I can actually remember driving up that very first day to my new incredible dream office and thinking, I've made it. I had this crazy cool life now, my own practice, a killer office with a receptionist area and glass windows and chandeliers. And I remember waking up extra early that first morning and taking extra time getting ready and putting on my tightest pencil skirt and highest high heels. I mean, I'm a doctor, but I wanted to look as good as I felt. And I walked in on that very first morning, and I immediately introduced myself to all the neighboring offices. But inside of me, all the while, was this little voice whispering, maybe you don't deserve this. But this office represented so much. My suite was modern and cool and designed just the way I envisioned it. And on the wall hung one of those fake fireplaces, the kind that are wall mounted. And it had these amazing dancing flames. I mean, I was pretty excited to start this first day. It was just the next chapter. And then just moments after arriving, there was an explosion. I mean, within minutes, flames were everywhere. And I was engulfed in fire. There was just this giant boom. followed by silence. Because in a flash, my body was covered. Flames engulfed my hair, my sweater, my beautiful office, and my first thought was just fix this. I was in the rawest form fighting for my life. Scorching hot flames had attacked every inch of my clothing. And it just all happened really fast. I had to rip off my sweater. But my skirt was, well, my tightest pencil skirt, and the zipper was stuck. I tried yanking it down with all of my power. It was on fire, but it wouldn't budge. And I just went into autopilot with a single goal to survive. And then in a split second, I remembered fourth grade when the firemen came to talk to us. What did they teach us? Stop, drop, and roll. And that's what I did until the flames smothered out. Now my skirt had burned away to just a waistband and a shred of material left. But I lay there for a moment amidst little piles of flames all over my office, but in silence. Because I didn't scream, I didn't yell for help. And it may sound strange, but I just didn't want to put the burden on others. I didn't ask for help. Not until I put out most of the fire myself. I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. To be honest with you, I had these really delusional thoughts while it was all happening that I would just put out the fire, clean everything up, bandage my wounds, and just quietly move on. But this way of thinking was all I ever knew. It's what I learned as a child. Do everything yourself. Don't complain. Don't expect anyone to care. Don't ask for help. Take care of everything yourself. Even when I'm fighting for my life, I didn't want to be a bother. Even in a life and death situation. I'd like you to stay with me on this for just a second. I want you to understand how my story is a lot like your story. I mean, before the fire, I wasn't even aware that I had this belief. And now I was, and I knew exactly how to fix it. I'd fix it the same way I help my clients and students. Once again, I would go in session. Only there was one big problem. I couldn't leave the hospital. I was still confined to a hospital bed, and I didn't have access to go into session. And that's when I realized, there's so many people, there's millions of people who need to go in session, who need to see someone, who need the shortcut. And it's not always an option. For some, their insurance restricts it, or they don't have access to experts or therapists like me, or circumstances restrict them, like being stuck in a hospital bed or busy taking care of other people. But no one should be restricted from this kind of help, from living this kind of life. And that's why I created In Session, because this is what I use to change my life. And we all deserve the same opportunities. This is what you deserve. This is how you make changes that last, that become permanent changes in your life. This fire almost cost me my life because of these deep-seated core beliefs that I didn't know still existed. Unless we know there's a problem, we leave ourselves open and vulnerable to a less than limitless life. So the first step is recognizing that there's a problem. In order for permanent change, we have to increase your self-awareness. Your beliefs control your life outside of your awareness. And unless you understand this, you won't have the ability to take that control back. You see, we have unconscious processes happening all the time. These unconscious processes that direct your behavior, your automatic responses, your urges, and your decisions each and every day. And these processes that are guided by your belief system and form the perceptions you have about yourself, about your circumstances, and your reality as a whole. What you can and cannot do, what you're capable of, and what you feel you deserve are all controlled by these beliefs that reside silently in your subconscious mind. Your belief system molds your perceptions. We don't conform to what the world believes, rather, we conform the world to what we believe. For that reason, we believe what we see and we accept it as truth. And of course, we don't challenge it because we have no reason to. And this is a huge problem. Because if you don't challenge what you know, you'll just accept a less than limitless life and never move beyond it, never believing that you can. However, once you become aware of these unconscious processes happening outside of your awareness, you become incredibly confident and empowered to change your life. Think of it like this. When you're dreaming, you typically don't know that you're dreaming. However, there are occasions when you do become aware that you're dreaming, at which point you have the ability to then wake yourself up from that dream. But you could only do this because you became aware that you were in a dream, and you became aware that your reality wasn't in fact real at all. Once we become aware, we can then make changes to conform to the new reality. But you have to become aware, much like a dream, to wake yourself up from. Creating awareness gives us the power to make changes. It wakes us up from the dreams that limit us and into the dreams that become reality. Unfortunately, many won't recognize the problem because our beliefs take over. Sometimes we aren't even aware we have these beliefs, even when logically we know better. And we believe things like, I don't deserve help, or success, or I'm not good enough to have that kind of life. Increasing self-awareness is how change happens in your life. This is brain stuff. It's broadening your frame of reference and shifting your perspective so that you are controlling your life rather than your beliefs controlling you. So now that you recognize the problem, you can see there is a much more effective strategy to changing it. So changing your strategy is step 2. Our brains make sense of the world by connecting dots and forming patterns to explain why things happen. These patterns go on to become beliefs. Now, once beliefs form, the brain begins to look for confirming evidence that support them, further adding emotion that strengthens them, which then accelerates the process of reinforcing them. Of course, many would argue that they do know and they don't believe many of the illogical beliefs we form growing up. They profess to have worked through them. However, if you still struggle with bad habits, insecurities, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of clarity, fear of judgment, lack of willpower, or you simply struggle to get past a stuck place or plateau, if you aren't asking for what you want in order to gain financial freedom and peace of mind in your life, then those core beliefs still remain intact and very active in your life, just like mine was that very scary day. Changing core beliefs requires a much different strategy than you're probably used to. Logic and behavioral techniques do not access the part of the brain that needs to hear it the most. You see, we typically remain in the part of the brain that has the job of appearing normal at all times, and this is referred to as the executive part of the brain, which remains very much less emotional. It's the thinking center part of our brain. Your brain is wired in a way that for your survival, emotions aren't helpful. So we stay in the executive part of our brain as much as we're able to. Besides, emotions make it more difficult when we're trying to appear normal. Now, your beliefs are forming every day as your brain takes in events throughout your life. And as these beliefs form, so do these little packages of information that hold conflicting information. You may have one package of information that says it's important for your survival, success, and happiness to be assertive, while another package in another region says it's important for your survival and your success and happiness to be passive. And these bits of information go to war with each other all day long. This is the battle in your head that you sometimes struggle and experience. But your brain compartmentalizes these bits of information depending on the emotional charge and the thoughts within them, making it really difficult to reach making strategies like talk therapy and positive self-talk affirmations very much ineffective. But once you define the problem, you can address it with a strategy that works to reach those areas of the brain for a more effective change in your life. Part of mastering your brain is a 4-step process that starts with increasing self-awareness so you understand what's happening. Next, your strategy will surely need to change. And then move ahead to begin the work that makes changes stick. So your 3rd step is positioning a new mindset. When we are in stuck places in our lives and we're struggling to change our circumstances, we most often attempt to first change our behavior. We focus on behavioral strategies in hopes that doing things differently may become habit forming. However, stuck places are oftentimes unconscious processes happening, which requires instead that you work from a psychological frame of reference. Consider this: the most common form of treatment for addictions is still cognitive behavioral therapy. Yet the rate of relapse is incredibly high because addictions deals with unconscious urges. So by the time the behavioral technique is put into action, the behavior has already happened. To change the things that feel almost automatic requires working with your mindset. Now we hear this term all the time, changing your mindset. But how exactly does one do this so that it feels authentic, not just contrived? Talking yourself into something won't necessarily make you believe it. So let me explain how changing your mindset in the right way, in a way that feels believable, is going to change the outcome of your overall success when attempting to make life changes. We all hold to a particular state of mind, but what most don't know is that we can have many states of mind. You probably notice this when you go from feeling really confident to feeling really insecure at times. And we transition in and out of these states many times throughout the day. So what does all this mean? Well, that we transition very subtly into thoughts and old feelings because of cues in our environment that trigger us. In those transitions, your state of mind and those old thoughts and feelings are simply moments of being in your memories. And what's really important to know is that most are unaware these transitions are happening. So let me ask you, if you knew you were dreaming, would you wake yourself up? Regardless of the kind of dream you were having, would you choose to wake yourself up from the dream? Now, when asked this question to my students, many said no. But if the memory is where the fear of judgment comes from, the self-criticism, the second-guessing, the self-doubt, the anxiety, the fear of putting yourself out there, then why would you want to stay in the dream? Because trust me, the reality you're in is much scarier than the reality that's here now. And this leads me to my fourth step, that is integrating. Let me tell you about this reality. This reality is where you matter. It's strength, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and love. It's freedom and confidence, beauty and trust. It's belonging, it's receiving, it's deserving. This reality has choices and faith, and it's real. It's everything you've always wanted to feel. So I'll ask you, don't you want to be in this reality? Integrating simply means creating a dual awareness of moments when you are in the present at your best and moments when you are stuck in the memories. You see, your brain just hasn't integrated the information yet. You are already strong, confident, and capable. Those conflicting little packages of information that tell you you're strong and also that you're weak, they just haven't integrated yet. There was a client who had survived several gunshot wounds from a grocery store robbery. He came in with the belief, I cannot protect myself. Now, this is a great example of information not integrated, yet because clearly as he sat across from me in my office, he could protect himself, or he would otherwise not be here. So who he is now is someone who can protect himself, and who he is all the other times is in the memory, and the memory is not real. Because you've had moments of awareness that you were strong, confident, capable, good enough, and important, then this is who you are now. You couldn't have those moments otherwise. Who you are now is all those things when you are at your best. And all the other times is simply a mindset that's got you stuck in the memory. We are simply all experiencing different states of mind that form the reality we see and that we fully accept, but it's important that you question it now. Now, I know that it may feel scary to pull the trigger, to pull yourself out there, to believe that you are already amazing and strong and capable of anything. I know that scary feeling, that fear, because I've been where you are, and before realizing the reality I was in. But the only reason it seems scary is because you are seeing it through the eyes of the person in the memory. From the memory forms the perception you hold, which is telling you the memory is real. What's real is becoming aware and deciding you want to wake up, because now you can. And to acquire a permanent state of mind that's you at your best simply means following a method I've designed to increase dual awareness. Integrate those packages of information and allow yourself to trust what you know over what you feel until that integration is complete. Now, why is this important? That world around you, when you get stuck in your memories, is holding you back. It's assembling your reality to conform to all the insecurities and the fears stored away in your memory network. But with increased dual awareness to those mental states, your position to your most empowered self changes. So I'm going to ask you to do something for me today. I'm asking you to awake from this dream, to believe that the reality you see when you are in fear and doubt is not real, and to create a dual awareness based on what you know over what you feel, so you can believe what you are now instead of living in the past. So I'd like you to look back over your life and make a brief list of events you've overcome, jobs you've attained, relationships you've ended, unhealthy relationships, accomplishments, big and small. I'd like you to describe what it took for you to do those things. How do you see yourself doing those things? Confident, capable, healthy, strong, important. What did it take to do those things? Just list these things about you when you're at your best. Then grab a pen and paper and write this down. What I am now is, and list those things. What I am all the other times is in the memory, and the memory isn't real. And I'm challenging you that each time you find yourself listening to old thoughts, old feelings, old behaviors that are pulling you out of the current context of who you are at your best, that you create that dual awareness by reading back that statement. Why is it true? Because you couldn't do those things if you were not that person now. Your brain just hasn't integrated that information yet. It's still catching up. But this process will help that to happen. You're just waking yourself up from a dream. Unless you become aware you were dreaming, you can't wake yourself out of it. So I'd like you to become aware each time you are in the dream. If you're not, those positive things you are in the memory, the more you practice doing this, the closer you get to becoming you at your best permanently, all the time. Now I'm asking you to do this for 30 days. And in 30 days, you'll notice yourself less often, if at all, in that negative state. And a new state of mind will present that is you at your best, but all the time. I'm offering you a chance to step out of the dream and into reality, the real one. Okay, so in the meanwhile, you'll be receiving a few more training videos to continue building on your best self, your mindset. You see, I can say with complete confidence that you will experience this life-changing transformation because you are already better. You're already confident, courageous, and strong. You've already made the team. You just haven't integrated the information yet. That's the good news, though. You've already made the team. You just have to finish your training. And I'm here to see you get through it.